show you how to face your fears in honor of International Face Your Fears Day. So let's get started. Fear is the main source of superstition and one of the main sources of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. Bertrand Russell. Rising to be productive, rising to be organized, rising to be inspired. Who are you rising to be? New podcast every Tuesday, new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Hello everyone, I'm Christina B Rising and welcome to the Rising to Be show, the only place on the internet where I help you rise to be who you want to be, helping you rise to be productive, organized, and inspired so that you can reach your goals. I upload new videos and podcasts every single week, so be sure to subscribe as a riser so that you won't miss anything. Shop for workbooks, printables, and stickers at risingtobe.com. And last but not least, this episode would not be possible without the support of our Rising to Be patrons and channel members. Thank you. Now let's get into this episode. Tip 1. Write it down and work it out. Fears are educated into us and can, if we wish, be educated out. Carl Augustus. Journal your fears. Make a list if you fear several things. Add your fear to your vision board so that this year can be the last year you fear it. No matter what you do, write it down or do all three if you're really scared of it. Sometimes you have to describe the ins and outs of something before you approach it. Do your research on it. Why? So that you can figure out your plan of attack before your fear decides to attack. Before you have a chance of making any real progress. Write down everything that this fear has kept from you. You should get angry and fed up with this fear because it has deprived you of so many things in your life. So decide today, in this episode, that your fear has no place in your life any longer. Give your fear its eviction notice. Set a due date for when that fear has to leave because it's time for you to start living life on your terms. Be sure to check out my goal setting workbook below to help you reach your goals and of course conquer your fears in the new year. Only at risingtobe.com. Tip 2. Try out your fears. Too many people are thinking of security instead of opportunity. They seem to be more afraid of life than death. James F. Burns. James F. Burns. There's this law by Brian Tracy called the law of reversibility. The law of reversibility says that if you feel a certain way, you will act in a manner consistent with that feeling, where you essentially continue to do what scares the crap out of you till it no longer scares you. Simply doing what scares you but refusing to back down. Why? Because you know in your heart that you won't always fear it. And soon you will be able to tell others all about how you were able to conquer your fears and share stories on learning how to swim, going back to school, and so much more. And mine, of course, is public speaking, which I actually used to be good at, but I'm also a highly calculated person, and my meticulous ways have kind of shot down my confidence. And through every single video and podcast, I am trying out my fears and slowly, very slowly, becoming an expert at it. So keep trying to conquer your fears because your fears won't last. Only the memory of you conquering it will. And you will even gain courage, strength, and of course, discipline along the way. Using the goal setting planner to track your progress in working towards reaching your goals will make them more attainable. Included with goal purpose writing prompts, possible obstacle brainstorming pages, goal breakdowns, motivational quote pages, goal progress reports, and so much more. The goal setting workbook helps you plan your goals and put them into action. It's filled with different sheets to break down your goal or multiple goals into bite-sized action steps so that there isn't any way you can fail. Available now at risingtobe.com and on Etsy. Tip 3. Find someone who has conquered. Of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are our own fears. Rudyard Kipling. Believe it or not, you probably aren't the only one struggling with a specific fear. It's highly likely that someone else has struggled with what you are currently struggling with. And you know what else? Someone else has also conquered that same fear that simply terrifies you. Ask that person everything you can possibly think of on how they were able to beat that fear and no longer allow for it to hold them back. Even ask them if they would be open to coaching you throughout this fear, or if they had someone coach them through theirs and if they could introduce you to them. It's okay to ask for help, but what's not okay is accepting that you can't do something when you can. You just need a little bit of help. Find chat rooms or support groups on Facebook where others can answer whatever questions you may have, and you can even ask anonymously if you need to. You can't conquer your fears if you're not bold enough to ask for help, because I can promise you that you will get tired of living in fear. I know I did. I got tired of not living the life I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel, but I was ridiculously scared, and well, I kind of still am. The thing is, I make progress while scared, and that scared progress has led me to creating nearly 100 YouTube videos on this very channel. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So keep moving. The more progress you make, distance you further and further from what scares you in life. Tip 4, keep your kryptonite private. Curiosity will conquer fear even more than bravery will. James Stevens, keep your fears to yourself, but share your inspiration with others. Robert Louis Stevenson. When we fear things, it's important that we are picky and choose wisely with who we tell our deepest and darkest fears to. Why? Because in the wrong hands, they can be used against us. Don't be like Superman, telling everyone who will listen that kryptonite makes you weak. Literally anyone who was his enemy was trying to get their hands on kryptonite. Why? Because they knew it could hurt him. And we can't just expect everyone to treat our important and sensitive information with care. Sometimes we have to do it ourselves. You are your greatest asset, and sometimes you can also hinder yourself. Today's comment of the day goes to Emmanuel Ejim. Hopefully I said your name correctly. Tip 3 and 4 is what I needed. I do find adding important events to my calendar. I do find it adding events to my calendar. However, when it comes to managing my personal time around those events, I tend to indulge too long in one hobby. I'll start making a checklist with a lot of times for hobbies and self-paced work. Thank you so much for your comment, Emmanuel Ejim. Share this awesome episode with someone you know who needs it to help them rise to be who they want to be. And don't forget to subscribe. I'd hate for you to miss the next episode. Now let's get into our recap. So let's do a quick recap just in case you missed a tip. Tip 1, write it down and work it out. Tip 2, try out your fears. Tip 3, find someone who has conquered. Tip 4, keep your kryptonite private. Fear, false evidence appearing real, unknown. I just want to take a moment to thank our patrons and channel members. This episode would not be possible without your support. Thank you. Watch next week's episode early by joining my Patreon for exclusive content. There's 3 tiers to choose from at patreon.com/risingtobe. Thank you so much for stopping by and pressing play. I truly appreciate it. Let me know down below in the comments or your podcast review which tip you'll be using. Keep rising to be who you want to be. Bye, risers!